Hi guys, quick little lesson today. Chapter 4, Section D, talking about natural resources. Not a real big section, but easy to talk about. So we've got all these different natural resources, and basically that's anything that can be taken from the environment and used, okay? Any raw material. And it includes all kinds of different things, but it's easier to kind of talk about the two main categories. We've got biological and non-biological. Biological resources would be any living thing like trees, grass, hay, fish and seafood from the ocean, things like that. Okay. Our non-biological resources are non-living things. And there's probably more of those actually. Water, sunlight, and then soil and clean air. Any precious metals like ores and even like the iron that we need for a lot of our industries. Those would be non-biological resources. An actual resource is a resource that's being used right now. Like we have it, it's in hand and we can use it. And then a potential resource is one that they know it's there, but it still needs to be mined. Okay, so it will potentially be an actual resource soon, but it's still inaccessible. But it's known. They know that it's there. All right. So when we talk about resources, we have to really worry about renewable versus non-renewable resources because the renewable resources replenish themselves. There's an unlimited supply. We don't have to worry about those quite as much. Water is actually a renewable resource. However, it's not super accessible to everyone everywhere. So we'll talk about that a little bit in the next slide, I think. We always have the sun until the sun burns out, and then we're in trouble. But for now, we always have the sun. And we have air. We just need to make sure we keep it clean. Okay. The non-renewable resources are resources that are in limited supply. Once they're gone, they're gone. And that includes all of our fossil fuels. Fossil fuels are it's organic material that has decayed, long ago, and it's underground and it's turned into these carbon products, and that's what gets mined out as petroleum, oil, coal, things like that. But those non-renewable resources also include those precious metals like gold and silver, diamonds, uranium. There's only a certain amount of that stuff. Okay, the fossil fuels are interesting. Secular scientists talk about how long it took to make those coal products, those fossil fuels, and that's part of why the Earth needs to be talked about is so old. But if you think of all the organic material that died as a result of the flood, all the plants, all the animals, all the people, there would have been a lot of organic material that was buried with all the sediment and all the layers of dirt and then the water and everything. And then all that pressure eventually turned those into the petroleum products that we use today, mostly the plant materials. Okay. All right. So how do we manage this? Like I said, with the water, there might be plenty of it and it might be a renewable resource, but it might not be available in some areas. A lot of desert regions undergo some pretty severe droughts that then cause them to experience famines because their food won't even grow. So we have to learn how to kind of spread that around and get those abundant resources to people that might not have it otherwise. The resource management itself is overseeing and controlling the resources and protecting it, using it well, but also making sure it gets to where it needs to go. And we just need to keep in mind that God created these natural resources for us. And so we need to be responsible with them. We need to be careful. We need to recycle. We need to be careful with our pollution. And we need to conserve. Just because water is renewable doesn't mean we should waste it. Just because we have the technology to recycle doesn't mean it's not a good idea to use a refillable water bottle instead of just buying plastic bottles. So we should be responsible with our management of these resources and remember that God gave them to us. Okay. Told you it was short. That's it. Bye, guys.